We are facing a new normal, let's be honest. AI is omnipresent. It changes how we work, what professions we can learn, and what jobs to take. But many organizations are operating so they need to adapt while running their everyday business. What do decision makers need to keep an eye on, and how should they adapt?
It's not easy. We call it you have to be able to perform while you're transforming, right? And it's a balancing act that you have to be able to do. The way to think about AI is it's a force. It's really something that we can start to understand how we use it to be able to do more. So, how do we get the technology to work for us and to be able to allow us to do more? Right. And it's creating new work and new jobs that never existed before. And I believe that that trend is going to continue. So, we as leaders, especially in companies, have to be very open to understanding, what the strengths are of our teams and how do you really put those strengths to work in the best possible way. Because when people are good and they're happy with what they're doing, they're going to do really great work. Let the technology do the rest of it, right? And how do you balance those two things together?
So it's about balance and making sure you still keep the daily flow going, but also making sure you adapt and you are aware of, what is good and how your business could do better.
Absolutely.
You've also implied that AI is an exceptional technology development, which means an exceptional distribution requiring adaptation. What are the most challenging aspects?
One of the things we talk to our customers a lot about. So our customers are technologists. They're the ones that are out there in the field really working with the companies that make the technology, right? And the businesses that need the technology and putting those two together so that technology works for those businesses. But they also tend to get very hung up on the technology. And what we talk to them about is it's really about what that technology can do and what that business needs. So how do you think about the outcomes of what that business is trying to achieve? Are they trying to, be create a whole new personalized customer experience for the customers they're serving? And how do you apply technology and AI to that?
Most organizations and their decision makers have seen and managed change before, but what could go wrong?
One of the things that I think we all have to get really comfortable with is learning and failing fast, because you can't try to do big things and fail. Obviously, that ends up in big failures, but testing and learning and trying out things and taking what does work and then adding on to that. Testing again, learning, taking what works, adding on to that. And it's typically called an agile process that's been used for a long time in building software, but more and more companies are adopting it as a way of working, to be able to drive change in a very slow, incremental way, but done in a way that also those little changes, those little things add up, and they add up really quickly. And you're constantly moving forward one step every day, and you're learning along the way. So that creates a lot of confidence and trust in a process, right? If you try to go after something in a really big way and try to make it perfect, things are never perfect. So you always have to kind of take it one step at a time, be okay with failing because that's learning, and taking that and moving that forward.
And something you said is that things are never perfect. So
Right.
it's a learning experience throughout the whole process. So in that process, what does proper communication look like?
It's constant. So I would use the word transparent. You want to nail your messages. And I think today it's really all about getting the information out, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be polished, but it does have to be concise and it does have to be credible. And it really does, if you do it really well, it needs to be compelling too. You have to have a little cleverness. How do we connect with people? But really doing it in a real time way and not kind of holding things back and trying to get it perfect. Again, with communication, it's just keep communicating, being transparent. People really value that, and that also creates authenticity.
So as a leader, how do we measure or how do you measure ROI, return on investment?
It can be measured in a lot of ways. The first thing that I always do as a leader is understand who I'm communicating, who I'm delivering that return to. If it's shareholders, then what is the return they're expecting, right? If it's my executive team, that my colleagues, then what are they expecting from our team? If it's my team, then what are they expecting? Because it's hard to deliver a return on investment if you don't know exactly who you're sharing or communicating that return to. Secondly, it has to be measurable. You really can't say that you've succeeded at something if you can't measure it. So make sure you have the right KPIs or measures in place. That's going to allow you to really measure what it is you're saying that you're giving that return on.
In regards to the future, what do you think the future holds, and how do companies adopt AI?
So I think the future is exciting. And it's exciting because there's a lot that businesses and companies are doing with technology that is much more intentional and much more aimed at what a specific outcome needs to be for that business. AI is really a tool, it is a methodology of how you can drive those outcomes. And it really stems from having data. So lots and lots of businesses have data typically all over the place. Before when we started Xvantage, we had databases in every country. We had multiple databases and functions. And what we used with Xvantage is a way to be able to create a data cloud that we're using AI and ML technology to now make sense of all the data we had. Data for data's sake doesn't matter, but data, if you use it in an intentional way to really better understand either a customer set or a target market or a business outcome that you're trying to achieve, that's what AI can help you do.
So, in regards to companies, businesses using AI, using data, what exactly should their next steps be, their results, and how should they measure success when using these type of tools?
It's really important to start with the end in mind. So, as a business, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to differentiate yourself as a company? Are you trying to better understand your customers? Are you trying to enter new markets? What is it you're trying to achieve first? And then what is it that you need to do in order to get there? And putting a whole plan in place that really starts with understanding the key drivers of success for that outcome. And then you can look at how you can use technology to amplify that plan, whether it's AI to better crunch data and process it so that you can analyze it better, whether it's using other technology to be able to automate customer service and experiences, or if it's creating a whole new digital experience platform like what Ingram Micro has done with Xvantage. There's multiple ways, of course, that you can use technology, but really starting to understand what it is you're trying to achieve first is most important.